Thank you all. My name is Bleon Proko. I work as a cloud security researcher at Exaforce. This is the presentation that me and Jakub Pavlík did on how to utilize a feature that GCP has, which is technically not just GCP, it's more of a Google-wide, because it also touches a little bit more on the Google workspace, though the research itself will only touch on the GCP part. And abusing it to maintain persistence that looks normal, but it's actually malicious. This goes along with my continuation of the research. Sorry, I forgot that slide. I promise I will edit when I just upload the slides. I continue, so throughout this about 3 years, I've been continuing different researches on how to utilize different features in mostly cloud environments, but also on-prem environments, and then abusing them for red teamers. So basically, just use a feature as well as it is a feature, but maliciously. Now, what are Google AppScript projects? Has anybody here has to work with AppScript projects? Okay, 1, 2, 3, or there's 4 more people than I have met so far that use AppScript. I was the first person in many people that I've asked to actually know that they existed. They are basically just a programmatic way of you interacting with different other services, mostly, as I say, Google Workspace related stuff like drives or connecting to different documents, and writing a code that will programmatically execute a specific task on a specific situation. Now, each time, so this is how they look when you try to create them. If you go to script.google.com, you can create your own. Any user that has even a Gmail account can create one of them. You can go there, you can create one. And that's how it's going to show. You can deploy them, as there are different ways on how you can deploy them. I think, yeah, there it is. You can have them as web apps, as APIs, as add-ons, as libraries. All of them work in a type of JavaScript. Is basically JavaScript, but they just have an extension of .js rather than JS. But it's basically just a JavaScript code that you can use and, as I said, run a specific code. Now, one thing that you will notice is each time that's created, that project an AppScript project is created. A GCP project is actually created on your own organization. It's just that it's being stored on a specific folder which is called AppScript. Yeah, apps-script. Inside another folder which is called system.gsuite, which is there you have it. So it's on that folder by default. Each time you create it, this folder is not list. I mean, it is listable, but it's not listable on the web browser. If you try to click on it, you won't be able to see. Technically, now the second part, I should preface another thing. I have submitted this as a bug. This has been acknowledged as a bug. I have gotten a response that this will be fixed. I haven't gotten a confirmation that this is fixed. But on other tests that I did this couple of days when I was doing the slides and, just doing the last test, I've seen a couple of things differently from how I did before. So as I will speak in the end, some things will not work the same way as they did when I first started. So I will be showing how I believe this can have evolved in these months since I have submitted the presentation. But before, even if you try to filter them, I wasn't able to look at them. Now I can try to list, and they will be listed. But they will be filtered. But if you try to click on that, you won't be able to see them, which makes it a project that is part of your organization, which you don't know unless you actually go and execute the API through either the API itself or a tool like gcloud. Now, one thing that I noticed when I was doing this research is that this directory is technically writable to anybody that can write that can create a project. You can literally just go and create a project there. So as an attacker, if you would want to have a specific project ready for you where you can put resources which are not monitored, especially on infrastructures where the detection is project-based, mainly the infrastructures where you have a specific system connected and the detection is made project-based, you would want to have a project somewhere that will not be looked by somebody else, will not trigger any, it will not seem suspicious, but it will not be able to be, it will actually work the same way as a project. So technically here, if you can see if you can see the whole zeros project is created directly on the organization, and you can see it here. But the other one that is created directly on the folder, which is the upscript folder, is not listed. Which means that right now I have created that, and I can continue to create my own resources there. Now, why would I want to have a project of my own? I can use another project somebody else has. One reason is having specific resources that I don't want to be listed by other people unless I actually want them to, or unless, they actually go for them. One of them is setting up something like a crypto mining instance. I can create a project, I can link my new project to the billing account, and then I can create my instance there, and it will go, at least for a while, undetected. This research came after some detections that we were making, and somebody was trying to abuse them, and this is technically the technique that they try to do, and this is how we found them out. Another thing that I would want to do is this one here. If I want to have persistence in an organization, I can use different things. I can have a specific user, I can update the authentication of a specific user, I can allow myself to impersonate a specific service account, I can create a service account, or I can just have a specific project where I can have a specific service account where I can give privileges to whatever I want. I can even give organizational privileges to that identity, and then I can go and access that. And this is the case when I go and create, as you can see here, this service account there is basically the project name, project name. That's how the service account format works in GCP, if you have worked with it. So it will be an email format of the name @project @im.gserviceaccount.com. So this is the one created by me. Another thing that I noticed while I was doing the test was that whenever a specific service account is created, whenever a specific upscript project is created, there is a service account by default added to the project. It's controlled by AWS, or technically controlled by AWS. To be fair, it will have by default owner rights on the project, because it needs to create all the resources on that project, which will go and execute all the code that will be added on the upscript folder, on the upscript project, and it can be updated by somebody that has access to just go and update a service account. You can give it a specific role. You can, if allowed by the organizational policy, you can create a key for that. You can allow it to be impersonated. Basically, the same way as a service account can be abused. So instead of going this route, where you will have one more event that can be triggered, which is the event of you creating a service account and then giving the privileges, you can just go this route and then just go and attempt to give them enough privileges to not trigger detections while also having a persistence on the environment. And you don't even have to create a key for that, because due to impersonation, which is basically for those people that have used AWS, is basically the equivalent of assume role It's the equivalent of assume role. Basically, you request a set of temporary credentials. In the case of Google, it's a token. In the case of AWS, it's just 3 credentials. So yeah, this is the first part. if we don't have access to impersonate, because impersonation is something that is triggered and is something that it's something that is heavily detected. Adding that privilege to a specific, so adding an impersonation privilege from an identity to another is actually very controlled. And in cases where we flat out won't have the permission to do that, we can always choose to do what we did before. We can create a resource on that specific project. In this case, I created a function, a cloud function, and I can assign that service account to that function. I can trigger it unauthenticated or authenticated if I want to continue using the user that I have, and then I can always try to run it. Now, the reason why I said authenticated or unauthenticated is because theoretically you can set an organizational policy that will prevent access for all users for specific tasks or all tasks. So you can limit anybody from having access from anywhere. So in cases where you have this error or where you know that this specific policy is being added, you can continue to use a specific user just to execute that function, and after that you will go and have a set of credentials which have administrative access. Now, why even go and try to impersonate, if I can put it this way, an app script? So basically just going creating a folder, or just doing that when you can create your own folder. Well, if we go back on how we looked before, and this is a sort of ish test that I also did with my with my colleagues. Most people will go there. Most people will not go here. And even if people go here, most people will usually look at stuff like this, search them, and be like, "Hey, this is normal." And searching on the internet, I can say that I'm probably the first person that actually went towards actually looking into those projects as a malicious element. So somebody looking at those projects from a specific user would just search and be like, "Oh yeah, this specific user has created that." Doesn't seem much, because it actually looks like a legitimate thing that somebody else would do. They are allowed to do that. They are allowed to create them. Even if they just want to test it, they are allowed to have that feature. The service account itself is something that is it's something that is created by Google itself. You can see that also in the email part, which is not the project.g service account, but the project is HubSpot, which is technically project which is managed by Google itself. We don't have access to that, so it would seem like this is just a feature being added and not being misused. And since technically there will be other resources being created there, because the scripts will need to be executed, it will actually look completely normal. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay then. Now that we saw that this can be abused, let's see some ways on how we can see this being detected. The first thing that we will be looking at is the fact that a billing account has been assigned to the project. A billing account is basically a fancy name for a way to pay, a payment method. Or not even a fancy way. This is just another name for just a payment method. Basically, you have one when you create your own project, and you can, if I'm not wrong, you can create others, and then you can just assign them to projects, and each time a project resource is created, it will be a pay-as-you-go, a continuation of money being retrieved from that payment method. By default, upscript projects do not have them, because they are not as resources, the resources behind it are not managed by you. They are managed technically by Google. So the first thing that you will notice is this one. But One way the attacker can be crafted about that is just going and unlinking the billing account from, or just not adding them at all to the billing account. The thing is, for resources that do require that, that will quite literally just destroy the resources. As you can see here, the crypto mining instance literally got terminated just by us unlinking that. There are some resources though that do not require that at all. They do not require a billing account at all because they are provided, and I think it's on this. No, they are provided to us by the free tier. And they are provided as free resources without any cost. IAM is one of them. So if we want to continue on the route of, hey, we want to add identities here which are going to be used as persistent, we can use that, not have the project linked to the billing account, and still make the project seem completely normal. Another indicator is that each time the API is used I'm using the word Google. I think this is just for GCP, and I think Google Workspace has other APIs. But at least for GCP, each time you are going to use a specific resource or a specific API, even Google Cloud, it will ask you if you want to enable this specific API before. All of them will be listed on the services enabled. Now, by default, an upscript project will not have any services enabled, but a malicious one will have, because basically you are using those as a way to create those other resources. Now, again, what an attacker can do is just disable them. One thing though, again, some resources do require some services while in use. One example that I noticed was the compute one. When you have an instance being created, by default the service of compute and OS login by default needs to be enabled, or otherwise the resource needs to be deleted. So if they have created some resource like an instance and they have this service, or in the case of Cloud Functions, I think the API for that needs to be enabled. So if they have created some other resource other than some other resource, and they need to use the API. For that, those services cannot be disabled while those resources are in place. So as a good detection way, this is another thing to look at. Again, we go back to IAM, which is the persistence part that I said. IAM does not, I only saw these 4 services, but I'm pretty sure there are others. Somebody that has time can go and look for them, but IAM is one of the services that do not require the IAM service to be enabled so that you can interact with it, because by default, and it completely makes sense, if you are going to use a specific API and you need the service enabled first, then you need permissions and the service enabled so that you can enable the service, which completely doesn't make sense. So it is completely normal that IAM at least will not require you the service to be enabled. So again, we can continue back on the persistence part. We can create an upscript folder completely legally just by having an identity compromised. We can go create a service account or just abuse the service account that they provide by default. We can have administrative access on the organization and then continue to do things with other identities. If we get kicked out, we still have a way back in, a privileged one, that is. The last part is the way that the upscript projects are created. If you create an upscript project directly from the scripts.google.com, the identity that will create will be this one here. But if you create them manually, the identity will basically be the identity that created it. So this is the difference between legitimately and illegitimately creating projects. Again, this can be bypassed. The way you bypass it is quite literally by just going and creating the project as just by using the script.google.com. You have the identity, you get access to the browser, you go and create the project, you you add, abuse or just update the service account or create another service account, and you again have everything ready. So in this case, we do have an environment that seems semi-legitimate. unless you are actually going and looking for specific things which are going to be there. And still, we also face the other part, which is how many people would look into a resource that does seem to be provider specific and actually going down the rabbit hole of analyzing that, rather than going through the other steps to analyze what the attacker actually did with other things. Now, there is this, so while I was testing, I was like, okay, how do I stop this? We don't use them. I don't have to use them. As I said, I met 4 more people than I've ever met that use upscript projects. What happens if I don't want to use them at all? You can just literally create organizational policy that says prevent any create or update of those projects. So any new projects will not be created, but if there are old ones, you can just prevent the update of them, and that will block the malicious creation of the project, and also block the legitimate creation of those projects. Now we submitted this to Google. They admitted this is a bug. They said that they are going to fix it. Again, I haven't gotten confirmation that this has been fixed. But I got into the honorable mentions on their bug bounty, which is I think that's a win. But as I said before, I'm not certain that they have fixed something, but while I was doing the tests, redoing the tests for this talk, I noticed that on our production environment, each upscript folder would be listed not in the upscript directory anymore, but directly on the organization. While on the lab environment that we have, they are being created on the upscript, which wasn't like this before. Before, everything worked like this. Everything was looking like this, at least some months ago. So I'm not certain if this is a partial attempt of them to fix stuff, and then later on everything will be look like that, which is basically all the projects will be listed as projects, not stored on specific folders, or at least they will be stored on specific folders but be allowed to be listed normally as in any other folder. I'm not certain of that. I haven't gotten a confirmation, so take all of this with a grain of salt. I just wanted to add this as a continuation of your own detection or attack in case you are going to use this technique. Sorry. Now, other things, other extensions to this research. I haven't had the time to go through this research. We had a lot of ideas on how to extend this, on how to abuse other features that it had. But if we go back to the second slide, we see that the upscript folders are used for many things. They are, as I said there, they are very flexible. You can use them to interact with different services. You can use them to build web apps and stuff. Now, out of them, these 3 are, in my opinion, in case anybody would want to continue this research, these 3, in my opinion, are next researches that can be used on that. One idea that I had, which was theoretically an idea, but I never got the chance to go through it, is in Google and GCP. And again, I'm using the term Google because I'm using Google as GCP plus Google Workspace. So when I'm saying that, it's both of them. There is something called a domain-wide delegation, which is basically you allow a specific identity to have access to basically any other identity around. One of them is the ability to go and impersonate basically any user that you would want and then access the resources. One idea that I had was create an upscript folder, and since that folder will allow you to go and access resources which are controlled by you, drives, files, and whatever, calendars, emails and stuff, you can create that folder, you can create an identity with DWD, domain-wide delegation, you can give that permission to go and access all the files for any identities, and now you will have a persistence mechanism on the entire Google Workspace for the entire organization, for the entire users, and control basically every file that they have. You can tamper with the files, you can read the files, you can tamper with their calendars, just try to fish them, you can enumerate, you can steal their data, you can try to find important data that might be stored there. Again, I haven't had the time to do that. If anybody has the time to get into this research, I think it's going to be a valuable one, but yeah. Now, as conclusions, this is, again, not too deep of a research per se, but it's something new that, unless you knew about it, you would not look into it so in depth. It's a feature that you can abuse to maintain, as I said, persistence into an organization or just create resources, while still looking as a completely legitimate environment. And in an environment where you are using this, it's going to be a lot harder, because now it's a matter of, okay, who of the users actually has rights to do that, and how am I checking if they are just testing this specific feature or not. Again, it's something to keep in mind in case an attacker will go and abuse this and try to get. And with that, thank you very much for...
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about the disclosure. So you reported it to Google.
Yes.
They acknowledge this to be an issue.
Yes.
They will fix it, and they didn't ask you not to disclose it to the public.
No. I actually even told them I will be writing an article about this. So whether you want to fix it or not, I will be writing something about it.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it's up to you to fix it or not. And I told them I can wait. I don't mind. And this is usually how I do my disclosures. Because I know very well if I leave a disclosure, it will always get stuck there. So I always tell them I will do this. So it's your choice to fix it in time, and we can discuss about an extension, or just leave it there and, well, God help anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Any other questions? 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you very much.